Hi friends, this is my first mukbang video, mukbang, in honor of my friend Jen, whose birthday was on Valentine's Day. So I think I'm doing this right. I have the weird camera angle, and I've got my assortment of stuff to feast on right under my chin, and I have a bunch of really delicious water. Some of it has been changed, like the pH was changed because of science. And so right here we have some water with lemon. This is the airplane experience, except a larger cup than you would normally get. So it's completely full of ice except for the little gulp of water that you get. We also have some lime. We have some just water without any ice, and then we also have cucumber, and then this clearly Canadian, which is I think blackberry flavored. So I think you're supposed to gossip during these videos. I also think I'm supposed to have an emotional breakdown, possibly, based on some videos I've seen, but I'm not really sure. And I actually am quite thirsty right now, so I'm just gonna get going on this. So I'm gonna have a little Valentine's Day theme here, I guess. Let's talk about the first date I ever went on, which was one of the worst dates I ever went on, but a really interesting guy did a good job making the actual worst date of all time. That's a whole other video, I think, probably. Wow. This is so refreshing. All right, how many sips can I get out of this? So my first date ever, it was the Sadie Hawkins dance, which is when girls ask boys, and you're supposed to dress in matching outfits. And it doesn't have to be formal, it's usually casual. So my best friend asked out a guy to the dance, and then I said to his friend, hey, do you want to go with me? And then we can go on a double date. And I wasn't like interested in him romantically or anything. And he was pretty excited about it. So that was cool. Everything was fine until we went shopping for our outfits. And traditionally, I don't know if the girl is supposed to pay for the guy's outfit or if they're supposed to buy their own outfits. But my mom gave me a budget. I didn't have very much to spend on it. And he kept eyeing these very expensive sweatshirts. And this was back in the 90s. So it was like $30 or $40 for a UW sweatshirt. And I definitely did not have the money for that. All right, this will supposedly change the pH of my body or something.
Hello.
Purified by reverse osmosis. There's a warning that you can choke on the cap. Anyway, the shopping for the matching outfits became a point of contention. Not really on my end. I just said, I'm sorry, but I can't buy something that expensive. And eventually we bought t-shirts, but he seemed really irritated about not getting the sweatshirt that he wanted. I didn't think it was going to be a huge deal, and by the time we actually went on the date, we were heading to this restaurant called The Keg, which is a steakhouse. How do you say this? Artesian water? In Fiji, rainfall slowly filters through volcanic rock, adding the vital minerals that give Fiji water its unique and refreshing taste. The thing that really sucked was on the drive there, he was being quite hostile towards me. If I said, I like this song that was playing on the radio, he would change the station. And if I said, I don't like this song, he would turn it up. So I thought at first that maybe he was just being silly, but no, he really seemed to be mad at me, and I kept thinking, is it really about the shirts, or did I say something unintentionally that offended him? I don't know. And that was something I thought about for years. But the topper was when we were about to turn into the parking lot, and it was a left-hand turn with no light. And he turned left at the last possible moment with me on the passenger side and put me in danger of getting hit by a car. So, yeah, that made me really angry. I don't remember if I yelled at him or said anything, but I was very disgusted. And I don't remember my friends saying anything about it either. But once we went into the restaurant and he ordered the largest steak on the menu. We were high schoolers and he ordered the largest steak on the menu. And even his best friend said, "Dude, what is your deal? You can't even eat all of that." And he still ordered it. And if we had been alone, I think I probably would have been more likely to stand up for myself. Actually, I probably would have just called my dad and said, "Come pick me up. This guy's being a jerk and I don't want to get in the car with him again." I don't remember how much the steak was, but yeah, that was really bizarre. After years of wondering off and on, what did I do that offended him so bad? He ended up dating my best friend, and I think maybe it was more about the fact that he wanted to be the one on a date with her, and he was kind of taking it out on me. Slime water is amazing. Oh, was I supposed to cry when I told that story? Sorry. Going for the just straight filtered water from the fridge now. But I also wanted to say that the first date I went on, when a guy asked me, it was one of the best dates I have ever been on. Well, he didn't technically ask me. So what happened was I was sitting in class and I had this mysterious message delivered to me. And it said something about the Cajun cook. And it was some poem about whether I choose to accept to go on this date or not. I had no idea who my date was. And it gave me a phone number to call. So there were 3 guys involved, taking out 3 of us girls. And one of them got his brother-in-law involved, and he set up a phone line with a message on his answering machine that said, "Thanks for calling the Cajun cook." And you're supposed to say on the message if you accept the date or not. So it turned out our moms all knew about it, and they packed what we needed to have, including a bathing suit and stuff. And then
hepatitis C is the most common blood-borne disease in the United States.
The day of the date, I was dying to know who I was going out with. One of the girls knew who she was going out with because it was her boyfriend. And my best friend, I think she knew who she was going out with. She was pretty sure. The guy had a major thing for her. And so we were given a clue, and it sent us around the neighborhood. So it sent us to the Mexican restaurant in town, and they had a clue for us, and the library also had one. And there's also a stop sign on this hill that everyone called Spanish Hill because it had a Spanish-style house. And then it sent us to the elementary school. And when we saw our dates waiting for us out front, we slowed down and then drove away. And then they chased us for a while. And yeah, I saw that my date was my friend Greg, who I'd grown up with, which was cool because there was like no romantic pressure there or anything. After a slow speed chase through the neighborhood, we finally stopped at this school, and we ended up going to Subway, we went to this lake, it was Lake Sammamish State Park, and we had a water fight with super soakers. And that's why we needed to have our bathing suits. And then we went to our friend Mark's grandma's house, and his mom was making us bologna pizza. We played pool, and it was just, yeah, the best date ever. So much fun. And it really made up for my first date, which was the worst, but not as bad as the date I went on in Provo. Oh, I didn't try the cucumber yet. So, things haven't been going very smoothly while I make this video, in case you couldn't tell. Cucumber and water is surprisingly good. I might have to finish this later and continue the story after I teach piano, because I think I do need to tell the Provo story, because it is, I think, entertaining and also horrifying. Alrighty then. I'm about to get a face full of ice. I haven't had any water all day, and now I'm just like drinking all the water at once.
Isn't that what a mukbang is supposed to be?
Mukbang is supposed to be food, probably. I still don't know if I'm saying it right. Alright, here comes the, uh-oh, is it gonna explode?
Fizzy.
Yeah, it's sparkling water. It's flavored. Clearly Canadian. Oh, I brushed my teeth a little while ago, and the blackberry flavor is not hitting right.
That's good.
Ew.
I like it.
No. Okay, go brush your teeth,
No.
and then come back and
No,
try
thank
it
you.
again. Do you?
It's good if you haven't brushed your teeth.
The smell is weird. It's in this.
Water.
Wait, sugar's 25 grams? I thought it just had some slight, okay. Spring water, pure cane sugar. What? Natural vegan flavor. Citric acid, non-GMO. This clearly tastes like Canadians. Simple Truth makes organic foods, and so I guess this must be organic water. Artesian water. Naturally balanced pH of 7.6. I really don't know anything about what the pH is supposed to be or why it matters.
Did you try your Fiji water?
I did. Tasted a lot like water.
Maybe
Kroger alkaline water pH 9.5.
What does alkaline mean?
I don't know. You're the one who wants to be a scientist. It doesn't taste very interesting. Especially after the thing that has sugar in it. Sugar. So, yeah, I will be back to talk about the date from hell. Turns out I'm teaching a little bit later. All right, the Provo story. After I had a very nasty illness in college, I ended up having to quit and decided I would move on my own and decided to go to Provo, Utah, where I could live by my brother and my cousins and stuff. And I was hoping to get into BYU, but I didn't, and I never got completely better either. So that's a whole other story. But I moved into my cousin's apartment and was going to take over her contract. So I was only, it was like the rest of her contract for just like a couple weeks or something. And she and I got to be there for just a little while together. So there was one day where all of my roommates were gone. They had gone home to visit family, and this was during the summer. And these carpet cleaners came over, and we had been told to box up everything and put it on our beds so they could clean underneath the beds. And my roommate Constance, she had her name on her box, and that's an important part of the story later. So these two guys came over, and I had been feeling very lonely because I didn't really have anyone to hang out with, and I was alone in our apartment. We got to talking, and it turned out one of them was from Bellevue. And I said, "Oh, do you know my friend Joseph?" And he goes, yeah, I do. And that was cool. And it, made me feel this connection to home. And I just considered it like a friendly conversation. And I had told them, well, I had different reasons for moving down here. And like one perk would be I would get to date, more members of our church. And then he asked me, "Hey, do you want to go bowling tonight?" And I said, "Yeah, that would be great." And I was thinking maybe there was like a group of people who were already going bowling. I didn't realize that it was like a date. And he knew my roommates were gone, but he said, "Well, do you have a friend for my friend?" And I said, "No." He goes, "Oh, well, that's okay." So he agreed to, do I need to talk to anybody, Andrew? I told him to pick me up from my work. I was working at a video pizza place at the time. And he showed up that night with flowers, which I felt was kind of weird for a bowling date. And he had his friend with him with no date. So they picked me up in their white van. It was their carpet cleaning van. They had a legit reason for having a white van. We went bowling, and every time I hit a pin, or maybe multiple pins, I don't remember, he kept high-fiving me. And then he kept trying to hold on to my hand after the high five. And I took my hand away just to let him know I don't want to hold your hand. And at one point, I took it quite forcefully and kind of glared at him. But that still didn't stop him from continuing. So, this was before cell phones. If I had had a cell phone, I would have gone to the bathroom and I would have called somebody. But, yeah, I didn't know what to do because I didn't know my way around town. I didn't know how to get back to my apartment. I didn't have my brother's phone number memorized if I found a way to make a phone call. So we were walking back out to the van, and he forcefully took my hand as we walked, and then he made me hold his hand in the white van. This made me long for the horrible date at the keg. Then we went to this place called the Training Table, which is a restaurant where you sit down at the table and each booth has a phone. So you order from the phone at your table. So it's just this silly, gimmicky sort of thing. And I was feeling very stressed, and considering the medical stuff I was already dealing with, I felt like I was going to puke. It didn't take much for me to feel like I was going to puke. But I ordered a hot ham and cheese sandwich, and I politely told him it was good. And he placed his hand on my hand and he said, as long as it makes you happy, it's worth it. Like in this very dramatic way. I kind of wanted to go to the bathroom and see if there was a window I could climb out of and just run away. Looking back, I should have just gone up to anyone. Probably everyone else in the restaurant was normal, and I should have just said, help me. I'm on a date with a psycho, please. Help me figure out where I live. But also I didn't want to really go home because he knew I was alone. And my brother had warned me about guys who say things like they've had a revelation that they're supposed to marry you. There was a man that said, you young men, stop telling the young women you've had a revelation they're supposed to marry you. If they're supposed to marry you, they'll say yes. It's a great quote. I desperately wanted to go home, and he said, okay, we're going to go to our place now. Oh no. So we went to the Rain Tree Apartments where they lived, and then he said, who wants to go for a walk? And that was his friend slash roommate's cue to not come with us. So then he took me for a walk by the temple, which is hard to explain the significance of that, but that's where people in our religion get married for all eternity. So he told me quite a few things about his life, like how he was homeschooled because he did some sort of martial arts tournaments. And he told me he went on a mission to Japan and he got sent home early, which there are several reasons why that could have happened. And I have some guesses as to why he was sent home early. This whole story just makes me feel really stupid. So here we are on this walk, and he's holding my hand, and he's also stopping once in a while to kiss me on top of my head. And he says, it's hard to believe we just met this morning. It seems like we've known each other much longer than that. So yeah, he's trying to hint that we knew each other in the spirit world or something, and you know, it's pretty much implying that I knew what he was getting at. And I said, oh, it must be because we're both from Washington. I was just trying to deflect any sort of thought that he had about us maybe getting married when we'd known each other less than 24 hours, maybe less than 12 hours even. Yeah, I think it was less than 12 hours. And somehow I managed to work into the conversation that I don't kiss on the first date. And he goes, oh, you don't? I said, no, I don't. And he goes, well, I can respect that, I guess, but nothing would stop you from kissing on the second date, right? And at this point, I'm thinking, just tell the psycho what he wants to hear, because I'm never going on a date with him again. So I was thinking, there's not going to be a second date, so he can get his hopes up all he wants. And yeah, I was just, you know, women go into survival mode. Just say whatever you have to do to survive. Finally, when he was driving me home, he said, well, you know how you said you wanted to date a bunch of Mormon guys when you moved down here? And I'd been there like less than 2 weeks. I said, yeah. Well, eventually, you only want to date one person. Okay. And he goes, what I'm saying is, you don't know it yet, but you have a boyfriend. That is still the most presumptuous thing anyone has ever said to me, ever. I didn't even know what to say. I wasn't going to go, yeah, you're right. I have a boyfriend. I just said, oh. Then we finally get to my apartment and he invited himself in. And then I just felt even more stupid. Like, now he's in my apartment. How am I going to get him out? Hopefully he's not going to do anything to me. And he sat next to me on the couch and I said, well, I'm feeling sick. And he pulled my head into his shoulder and he said, oh, I'm sorry. And then he said, well, how about we have a prayer and I tuck you in? And I said, well, no, I think it's against the rules for you to be in my room. Oh, okay. But I let him say the prayer and I was just praying for him to get out already. I don't remember what he said during the prayer, but I could not lock the door fast enough after he left. Oh yeah, he also told me, we'll spend the whole day together tomorrow, okay? And I said, okay. I totally didn't mean that. So my roommates were back in the morning. I went to church. When I got back, Constance said, hey, some guy called for you. And I said, oh, well, aren't you going to call him back? No. I went to my brother's place and I played games with him and his roommates for a long time. I avoided the guy for 3 days and then I moved into a different apartment, which was the plan. I'm going to drink cucumber water more often. I love it. Back to the giant cup of ice. So after I successfully avoided him, well, I also ended up changing jobs too, so he couldn't even go there and confront me. Oh, and I actually did throw up the next day or the day after that because I was so stressed out and also just kind of beating myself up over the fact that I let the date continue and that I let him in the apartment with me. Like, I felt like such an idiot. Anyway, one day, months later, I was working at a groomer's as a dog washer. And that job paid $2 to $5 per dog. Some days I would go in and there were like 3 dogs. And sometimes I could afford the bus ride home and other times I couldn't. This was one of those lucky days where I had enough money to ride the bus and it was like 100-something degrees out. I got on, I'm covered in like wet, dirty dog smell because I'm holding all of these dogs against my body. I had my hair pulled back, I had sunglasses on, and then who hops onto the bus? Yes, Psycho Boy. And he was with a bunch of friends. And I just was thinking, oh my gosh, please don't recognize me. Please don't recognize me. He got on the first stop after I got on. And I thought maybe he didn't see me, but he was talking in like a very show-offy sort of way. And so I thought, okay, I think he knows it's me. I think he saw me. So the very next stop, when I realized he wasn't getting off, I got off the bus at the very last minute. And I ran for a while. And I had to walk probably about 45 minutes in the heat. It was totally worth it. And this is a story I share with young women in case they ever get in a situation like that. Now, of course, most of them have cell phones now, but I can tell them, hey, if you're feeling uncomfortable, just say, I have to go to the bathroom. go to the bathroom and text someone you can trust and just get the heck out of there. Oh my gosh, that was just ridiculous. So it was maybe another month or two after that, and I ran into my old roommate, Constance. And she worked at Wendy's where she wore a name tag. And Constance said, these two guys came through my drive-thru, and when they saw my name tag, they said, hey, did you have a roommate named Sarah? And she goes, yeah, I did. And, well, tell her to call us. We miss her. Most clueless idiots ever. It's like, dude, I could not have ghosted you any harder. Jen, I hope you had a wonderful birthday, and I hope you enjoyed my dating stories. I probably have more, but those are the ones that really stand out in my mind. Make a wish on your birthday water. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jen. Happy birthday to you. I have to pee. Jen, I can't believe you've been my patron for 5 years now. That just blows my mind. I'm so grateful, and your support means so much to me. Thank you so much.